SCORE and then how we're going to operate through this webinar today. SCORE is a national organization. We have about 10,000 volunteers across the country. Almost everything we do is free. We do free kind of confidential mentoring, a lot of one-on-one mentoring. People can come as often as they want for as long as they want. Across Massachusetts, we have a wide range of expertise, including entrepreneurs like me, lawyers, accountants, engineers, human resource people, and pretty much anything you can think of, SCORE will have somebody. And if not, we will find somebody to help you. We do over 100 workshops or webinars in the Boston area. You can go on the websites and check it. There's 5 or 6 listed right now in the next few weeks. Okay. Today, we are doing all of our mentoring virtually, either by video or phone. Hopefully someday we'll get back into meeting in person, but probably not anytime this year. If you've met with a mentor before and you haven't done it in a while, it's probably good to get a business tune-up, and it never hurts to just sit down and make sure that everything's going well. We meet with clients that have very successful businesses and still meet with us because we don't judge, and we listen to what you have to say and help you. All right. So if you have questions today, use the Q&A to ask a question, and Teresa will be monitoring it, or I will be. We're going to do a Q&A at the end, but if you have a question you think is pertinent to what we're talking about, go ahead and throw it in there. There's also a chat on there that you can do. We're going to email you the link to the recording and the slides after the webinar. We're not going to use breakout rooms today, and there's going to be a 2-question e-survey shortly after the webinar. Okay, so you can see the Q&A, or if you want, is right down there, and then there's a chat. So chats for things like we'll be putting on our email addresses or whatever. If you have questions on that, we'll be plugging it in there. Okay, and for the Boston office, if you want to set up your own meeting, you can go to boston.score.org, and it's very easy to walk through, find a counselor that has the skill set that you want, that is available on the days that you want, and then you can schedule a meeting. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. And walk through it. Here's the people that are available today. From the SCORE office, that's Tim Nelson and Carol Kofinke. We're here to answer any questions you have about SCORE, or anything else you want to ask. From Massport today is Donna Dorico Sands. She's the purchasing manager. And Dimitri, I can never say your last name, Dimitri, but Nikoliev is the director of policy and programs of the OSD. And we're hoping to have Ingrid Beckles. Not sure she's going to make it today, but she's the manager in supply and diversity at Partners Healthcare. If she doesn't make it, we will still try to get her slides and send them to you. Okay. We've spent a lot of time over the last few months talking to Dimitri and Dimitri's group about helping people that have just gotten their designation, or they've had it for a while and they're just kind of struggling to get business. So here's some of the things that we work with, and we're actually working on a pilot program with Dimitri's group to help do these things. So a business plan, you are at least twice as likely to have a successful business if you actually write a business plan. And it doesn't have to be anything extremely fancy, but it has to have the basic stuff in it. And the basics for us is you have to have a marketing and sales plan. We spend almost all of our time on this. This is what I spend a lot of my time on, is that a lot of people are really good at what they do, but they have no idea how to market or sell their business. So we spend a lot of time, we teach you how to do it. And we've had a lot of people who can become very successful just using the things that we teach. You also have to have an operation structure. So how is your business managed? A lot of businesses are just one person, and that's fine. But if you have employees, you have to have a good management structure. It's not easy to manage employees, as I can attest to you all day long. but if you have a good structure in place, it's good. And so when you're out talking to larger businesses or to the state and you want to do business with them, if you have good plans like this, they're going to be more impressed and more likely to do business with you. The other thing I would also add is you probably should have some sort of financial analysis with a good cash flow, at least just 12 months explaining how much money you have, what you think your estimates of your expenses and what you think your estimates of your sales are going to be, just to make sure that that you know you can cover your expenses even in a down month or a down year. Those are really important things to look at. There's actually very successful businesses that have gone out of business because they didn't manage their cash flow correctly. They were actually profitable, but didn't manage their cash flow. So we spend a lot of time on this, but these are the basics when you're setting up your business and the foundation. If you do these, you'll be set, because you also can go back and review them all the time and change it when you need to change it. Now, sales and marketing, the basic thing you got to have is a website. To be taken seriously when you're out, if you're out handing out your business cards and somebody looks you up and there's no website, or the website is really bad, that really doesn't help you get business. And we spend a lot of time on the messaging on your website and how it looks and things like that. It just needs to look professional. It doesn't have to be the best thing ever, but it needs to look professional. The wording has to be good, no grammar or spelling mistakes. Social media, we do workshops on this all the time. We do a lot of work with social media. The main thing is to have a consistent message. And if you are going to use social media, you have to post regularly. And if you don't, sometimes it looks like you're out of business because you haven't posted in 6 months. People go, wow, they must be gone. So if you're going to post, keep posting and just make it entertaining so people will like looking at it. Networking, for what you want to do with the state and with other companies, you're going to have to do a lot of networking. And that means going to events that you think you can meet the people you want to meet, webinars, anything you can think of where the business people you want to talk with are there. And if they're there, then you need to have a good elevator pitch. And we're going to walk through that here. An elevator pitch is what I start all my clients with, because it helps you define what your product is, and it helps you define what your target audience is. And it needs to be about a minute long, maybe a couple hundred words at the most, but it defines your target audience, and you can have different elevator pitch for different target audiences. And here's the basics that are in is, what problem do you solve? So a lot of elevator pitch. So if somebody comes and you're at a networking event and somebody says, so what do you do? It could be you just ask them a question, or what do you ever have a problem with this? Has this ever happened to you? But define what the problem is so they know that what you're about ready to talk about actually is something that they're interested in. And the main thing about when you're talking to people is it's never about you, it's always about them. So it's not bragging about you. You want to be talking about something that actually is good for them. So actually, after you describe the problem, then describe what your unique selling proposition is. How are you different? How are you better? How does your product or service work for the person you're talking to? And if you're a sub, the main thing when you're talking to a contractor or a bigger company or primary is, how do you make them better? It's not, can you make introductions for me or can I work with you? It's, how does my product or service make your offering better? And then if it makes them more competitive with their competitors, then you got something. But if you always go about it as, it's not about you, it's about them. And how do I make them better? That'll be really good. And if you have a good example of what you've done, if you have a client that you've done really well with, if you're brand new, it could be an example of something you've done or something you've seen. But examples usually really make people believe in your product. That actually, I prefer to hear the example than anything else, because then I know you've actually done what you need to do. maximize your special designation. So will I automatically get business? Probably not. That'd be great if you could just get your designation and people started calling you, but more than likely that's just not going to happen. And I think sometimes people are shocked by that. So you'll have to work for it. So you got to do some research as you register in combines, and Dimitri's going to walk you through that. Do your research. Use all the Mass Central Register, do outreach, do networking. Sometimes the library has stuff that you need if you want to look up businesses. But if you're going to talk to a company, at least go to their website and review what they have so you can talk about, what they need. There's also databases that are available, Dodge Data, BidNet Direct, and CDC, Community Development Corporation publications as well. And then it's just find the state agencies who buy what you sell. And then if you work with us, we'll help you figure out a strategy to get to the people you want to get to. And it's not always easy. You have to be persistent. And actually, a lot of companies appreciate your persistence if you're not obnoxious. So find large companies who do business there and try to work with them. And that's, again, do the research before you talk to the large companies, because you want to make sure that they know that you know all about them, and be clear on your value. So your value is, how the product that you're going to provide them, and be happy and proud of it and passionate about what you're saying. Okay, now Donna's going to talk, and I'm going to stop sharing here. And Donna, you are up.
You'll need to unmute.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to Tim and Carol and Teresa for having Massport on today. This is a great opportunity for us to reach out to you. Just a little bit about Massport. We promote the regional economy through the operation of 3 airports: Boston Logan International Airport, Hanscom Field, and Worcester Regional Airport. We also have the Port of Boston's cargo and cruise facilities, and we're involved in property management and real estate development in Boston. So a little bit about purchasing. We purchase all the goods and non-professional services are processed through our purchasing department. The department processes in excess of 140 million in purchase orders and contracts during our fiscal year. This results in over 3,000 purchase orders and over 350 contracts that we do a year. The purchasing department has 16 members, and the buyers are responsible for doing the purchasing for the department. So they work with the end users on what their needs are. We'll develop a scope, and then we'll put that out to bid. The purchasing process, how to find out about business opportunities at Massport, by being on today's event, because I'll go over a lot of opportunities with you, and also how you can find out when we have bids out there. This will give you the opportunity to get on our vendor list. We have a vendor form that Teresa is going to push out to you, or she'll email it to you, that you can fill out and then email that back to us. And then we'll be able to get you on our vendor list. So then we can reach out to you when we have something that is something that you're selling or a service you're providing and we're looking for. The purchasing process, our supplier diversity plan, this has been approved by the Massport Board of Directors back in 2017. So this has been implemented during the past 3 years. It includes SDO certified vendors. We refine the partnership between purchasing and diversity. We work closely with our diversity and inclusion team at Massport. So they do a lot of outreach, a lot of online classes, and they will always provide us with a list of vendors when we're looking for a bid. So we always work with them on every time we're bidding something out or doing an RFQ. We have developed a new vendor database, which has recently been updated within the last year. So if you've ever been to any of our events at Massport, you probably will be already on our list, but we can always check to make sure you are. Purchasing basics, goods and non-professional services. For Massport, it's the best value concept. So it's not always the lowest price. We're looking for the best value for Massport. Our bid types are authority-wide, multi-year versus department specifics one-time need. So normally when we're doing a bid, say for landscape, we would bid this for 3 years with 2 option years, and that could be authority-wide. But we can also just do a one-time bid for an item that only Maritime is looking for. And that could just be for 1 year, or again, it could be for 3 years. It depends on the needs of the department. Our vendor selection process, procurement methods dictate by dollar value. We have selection committees if it's a certain dollar amount, and if it's a board vote, it's anything that's over 5 million. A little bit about our procurement process. This actually has just been changed back in April. Our board have changed our thresholds. So actually it's going to give you more opportunity. Anything less than 10,000, we're only looking for 1 quote. It's no bid required. So if you get on your list and we know it's something that you can provide us, we'll reach out to you to provide us a quote. If it's between 10,000 and 49,999,000, so anything under 50,000, this is an RFQ process. So this is much simpler. You can email us your quote. We'll reach out to you saying, this is the scopes, this is what we're looking for. And then we'll give you a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how quick the end users need the item or the service. And then you'll just email us back. This process is a lot quicker. There's less forms that need to be filled out. It's usually just a 1-pager, sometimes 2, depending if it's a service. It's very quick. Anything over 50,000 is considered our formal bid. And this is a sealed bid. And we, right now we're using Bid Express. So we post the complete bid is on Bid Express. It's electronic bidding. We'll post it on our website, but we'll just link you right to Bid Express. The bid components for our RFPs, and these are more the formal bids. There's a cover letter that will tell you a little bit about what we're looking for, the bid instructions. The scope of service will outlay everything who are the units they're looking for, the different departments. It could be Maritime, Worcester, Hanscom. It could be part of aviation. It will give you all that information. Then there's the bid form. There's a reference form. We always ask for 3 references. And then there's just 3 forms that are always filled out: the workforce composition form, the certificate of compliance with laws. Again, it's very simple on Bid Express now because everything is right on there. You check it off, you add your information, you do it all online, and then you can work on it, come back to it, as long as you submit it to us by the deadline date. These are some of the categories of our commodities and non-professional services that we're looking at. I mean, I won't read through them all, but as you can see, we're like a mini city at Massport. I mean, we handle everything from appliances to crane equipment, electrical, food and catering, firefighting. We have our own fire department. We finance everything for the police department that are at Massport. Facilities, fuel and oil, which actually has just been put out to bid, canine supplies, mechanical, moving. Again, I'm not going to read them all, but as you can see, we kind of purchase and service a lot for Massport. These are some upcoming bids. A couple of them are already out on Bid Express, but as you can see, again, these are some large ones. Auto parts actually will be going out probably in the next month or 2. That's actually a large bid. And just to give you a little bit on that, we normally will choose 5 to 6 vendors to meet our needs. So it's not always a 1 vendor that's chosen. It could be multiple, depends on the needs. Boat repairs, computer equipment and software, we're always bidding items out for them for our IT department. Equipment maintenance, construction and building materials. Again, these are things that are constantly being bid out. Sometimes they're just one-offs. Sometimes they could be for 1 year. Again, it depends on the budget and the needs of the end user. Landscaping services, we bid that out last year. We only did it for 1 year. So that will be coming up again next year for us to be bidding this out. Snow removal services actually was just put out to bid on Friday. So that's also out there. And uniforms actually will be coming up to bid in the next couple of months. These are where our RFPs are posted. Again, I put the direct link under current, brings you right to Massport's website, current opportunities. And this is actually going to just tell you a little bit about the bid, and it's going to direct you to Bid Express. And then also I have the Bid Express, our website that we currently use. And again, all our bids, now these are bids that are only over 50,000 that are on Bid Express. So anything under 50,000, we would just be emailing you. That's why it's so important to have you fill out that form, our vendor form, so we can get you on our vendor list. This is our website in case you lost the link or you're just somewhere and you want to look and see. If you went to massport.com and you look under business and then bid opportunities, this will bring you to the bid opportunity page. And then you look at current opportunities. And this will list all our updated bids. Again, these are bids that are over 50,000. This will also list the construction bids, because we list them under the same spot. So you'll see construction as well as goods and services here. And what you'll see now is when you click on one of these links, it will bring you to a little information on the bid, and it will direct you to Bid Express. I'm going to show you, this is our Bid Express, our main page Massport has on Bid Express. And just to give you a little more information, it's free for anyone who bids on anything from Massport. We are actually absorbing the cost of this. So what we need you to do is actually register, because that's one of the most important things. If you register on Bid Express, then you'll be able to always see our bids. And you'll actually be emailed when we post something on Bid Express. They'll send you an email and let you know Massport has posted something, and then you'll be able to be notified. Our bids are listed under upcoming solicitations, and you just click on the bid number and it will bring you right into the bid. But again, you'll need to be registered in order to bid. It's very easy. The support team at Bid Express, they are excellent, the customer service. If you go right on Bid Express, it will walk you through on how to become registered. As we explain to everyone, it always asks the question of, do you want to pay as you go or do you want to join for the month? Again, for Massport, there is no charge. So you just want to say pay as you go, unless you're interested in other bids. If you want to, there's so many companies that use worldwide that use Bid Express. So for us, there'd be no charge, but if you wanted to bid on something else with other companies, you would have to pay. So that's completely up to you to make that decision. But again, for us, there is no charge. If you have any questions, you can always email us at purchasing@massport.com. This email address, I review it and so do the buyers. So we'll answer you quickly if you have any questions on anything that's out to bid. Or if anything on Bid Express, we're definitely there to help you.
That's great. Thanks, Donna.
You're welcome.
And Don will be here for questions at the end as well.
Yes.
So, okay. Next up is Dimitri. And Dimitri's going to walk through, and then Ingrid has joined us, and she will go right after Dimitri.
Thank you so much for having me here. Let's see, I will be presenting about the Supply Diversity Program for the state of Massachusetts. And I will discuss sort of key concepts about our Supply Diversity Program, benefits of certification, direct business opportunities that you can obtain through combis, supply diversity partnership opportunities with prime contractors, OSD training and other resources going beyond state government, including working with organizations like Massport, and finally, technical assistance organizations. So let's talk a little bit about the Supply Diversity Program. Our mission is to promote equality and diversity in state contracting. It's administered by the Supply Diversity Office at the Massachusetts Operational Services Division. OSD is the state procurement office. You can think of it as essentially the state's price line negotiator. What we do is we negotiate pricing and other terms and conditions for contracts on behalf of the state. And then individual organizations place orders and use their own budgets to make purchases. How does the program work? Executive agencies on an annual basis set goals for spending with certified diverse businesses, and these goals can be met through either direct spending, where a state agency spends money directly with the certified prime contractor, or indirect spending, where um, the prime contractor spends money with a certified partner, and the prime contractor actually commits to spending a portion of their contract revenue with that certified partner. So these are two main pathways for doing business, and I will actually discuss those pathways with you in the presentation. So SDP partnerships, this indirect spending route is actually required for executive agency procurements for goods and services that are expected to result in spending over $150,000 over the term of the contract. So um, who who actually gets these supply diversity goals? Basically, all the executive branch agencies participate in the supply diversity program. Everybody from Health and Human Services through labor and workforce development, through education, through public safety and security, all of the agencies under these secretariats um, participate. In addition to that, several quasi-public and independent agencies like the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, for example, and uh, quasi-public agencies like Mass Housing and the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority participate in the supply diversity program. What are the certification categories that are covered by our program, and what are the annual goals for departments? So we call our goals benchmarks. Um, we have 3 sets of benchmarks for the supply diversity program, one for minority uh, business enterprises and nonprofits, for 8% of our organization's discretionary budget, uh, 14% for women and business enterprises and nonprofits, and 3% for veteran businesses. We're also tracking with the hope of developing benchmarks spending with disability-owned business enterprises and LGBT business enterprises. There are 2 types of organizations that the Supply Diversity Office and its sister organization, Unified, sorry, a UCP, Unified Certification Program, that we certify, but that do not participate in the Supply Diversity Program, and that's the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, which is a federal certification, and Portuguese Business Enterprise, which is a state certification, but it only becomes Portuguese business enterprises only participate in very specific projects where the funding bill by the legislature actually includes PBEs into the project for supply diversity rules. So as I mentioned, the first program pathway is really to do business with the state agencies directly. How is it done? So you would have to become a prime vendor. To be considered, you have to submit a competitive proposal in response to a bid solicitation posted on Combis. Just like most public organizations, just like probably all public organizations, we do not accept unsolicited proposals. The procurement process starts with us identifying a business need and then posting a public solicitation for proposals, bids, responses, as we call them, to sort of for vendors to provide that information to us. After we receive proposals, there's a bid evaluation, and we select one or more contractors to provide the product or service to the state. And once on contract, you get to market your product or service to executive agencies, who may then select your firm over others in order to meet SDO spending benchmarks. So the important thing here is that your certification will not be a factor in your selection as a contractor. So in order to, but it will become a marketing tool for you once you become a contractor. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour of our procurement system, just like BidExpress, except different. Um, it's called Combis. Give me 1 second. Let's see. There it is. My apologies. All right, there we go. Let's see. This is the homepage for BidExpress. Sorry, from Combis. I was so captivated by Donna's presentation. I will show you a few places, a few key elements that you might want to check out as a vendor. The first area that I would check out as a vendor is the vendor training resources. There's a vendor training overview. The state provides extensive training for vendors on how to use the system. Any typical activity that you would engage in, looking for a bid, responding to a bid, a registration, is covered by either a training or a job aid. All of these things are available here. In addition to that, we have webcasts, which are essentially YouTube videos that are available to you. They're available to you to watch at any point. The next thing that I would draw your attention to is the list of newly posted bids. This is a listing where it says attention vendors, 36 newly posted bids. We refresh that every week. So if you are the kind of person that likes a morning ritual, you can start your Tuesday or Wednesday morning with a cup of coffee by looking at the newly posted bids on Combis. The next point of interest that I would like to discuss is the contract and bid search. If you scroll down just a little bit, you will see it as a link over here on the left, contract and bid search. You can search Combis by organization, by keyword, by bid description. Typically, what I suggest folks do is actually look at search for bids by description. So let's just try again and um, and search by bid description. One of the benefits of this is that the listing that's posted every week obviously gets refreshed every week. This allows you to see bids going back and identify things that could be open right now, yet that you might have missed on those weekly listings. So let's look for office. Let's just look for, well, asbestos. How about that? Click find it. And the list of bids whose description includes the word asbestos will appear at the bottom. So you can see that these are the links to the specific solicitations, the buyer, the description, and the bid opening date. So what is the bid opening date? It's actually the date when we open the bid. For you, it's the deadline. Sometimes you will actually see if the bid opening date is passed. You can actually see who was awarded for the bid. Sometimes you will see award in process. I would reach out to the buyer to see if the deadline hasn't passed and there is an award in process. I would reach out to the vendor to the buyer to see if there's actually an open opportunity still, or if the opportunity really has closed. Okay, so that's a quick tour of the search form. But if you go back to the homepage for Combis, you will also see a big registration button in the upper right corner if you go to the homepage. Why don't we just do it this way? I highly recommend that you complete the vendor registration. It's a very quick process. It also includes the ability to join our small business purchasing program. It's a program that provides additional benefits to companies that are located in Massachusetts, have 50 or fewer employees, and do $15 million or less in average gross revenue. So I, highly recommend that you register. This also will allow you to sign up for what we call commodity codes or UNSPSC codes that basically identify your industry and allow buyers, when they post solicitations, to place you on a notification list for solicitations that match those industries. So that's in short how you would use combis. Let's get back to the presentation. And talk about the next type of a pathway to do business with prime contractors. So suppose you don't see any opportunity, any direct business opportunity right now. Should you give up and go to Bid Express looking for opportunities there? Not quite yet, because you can actually do business with already awarded primes. So this is relevant not just for folks who sell things that are purchased by the state. It's also relevant for folks who sell things that we're unlikely to buy. For example, flower arrangements, edible arrangements, or let's say chair massages. We are, as an organization, we don't have a significant volume of those purchases, but prime contractors with whom we work might. So as I mentioned, all goods and services contracts expected to cost over $150,000 sort of altogether require prime contractors to commit to spending a percentage of contract sales with certified businesses. So the idea of this SDP partnership is for you to develop business relationships with the current contractors. And I mentioned that this is an opportunity for folks that offer basically any kind of a product. And the key to this is maintaining your certification. So how does this happen? At the time of bid, all of our contractors are required to make make a commitment. They fill out a special form where they pledge a percentage of sales towards supply diversity relationship. Then after award, prime vendors declare who they're going to partner with. They can change partners at any time. They can add partners. We realize that sometimes the planned partnership, the planned need may not arise, and we allow folks to change partners, and then at the end of each quarter or at the end of the year, report using a special form, report how much they spent with the partner. There are several types of relationships that are recognized by the program. Of course, the number one relationship is subcontracting, where the SDP partner signs a contract with the prime to provide a piece of the total scope of the service or product for the state. Another type is other services. We call them ancillary products and services. These are products and services that the prime might need for their general business needs: cleaning services, catering, office and imaging supplies, website design, accounting services. These are just examples, just a few examples of partnerships that we have seen our primes engage in order to fulfill their SDP commitments. And I have to say that these do not necessarily have to be long-term commitments. If you have a project, a web design project, it can be a one-time engagement. So going going back to the value of the certification is not a set aside, it's not a guarantee of business. But what it is a marketing tool. It's an opportunity. It provides additional competitive advantage over over other folks in your industry when you are either working with state agencies or you're trying to establish a partnership. Ultimately, of course, we'll look at the quality of the proposal. Of course, the prime will look primarily at the value that you provide to them, but the certification is an additional tool that helps you um, either create a relationship or ensure the longevity of your existing relationship with the prime contractor. So continuing with the idea that Tim started on regarding marketing, we definitely want you to promote your certification status. Um, Include information that that you are certified in your marketing material, in your email signature, on your business's website, and you can target prime contractors in order to actually create partnerships with them. You can um, you can look at the statewide contract index as a listing of all the statewide contractors. Uh, the index is actually located on the Combis homepage. You can look at the statewide contract user guides, which are also listed on the on the Combis homepage. And finally, uh, there are about between 600 and 700 health and human service contractors that are participating in the supply diversity program. For a list of those, you can access a link that I have placed here. And finally, if you're interested in who is actually making money out of the people who you would do business with or you are doing business with, there's an excellent tool from the Massachusetts Comptroller's Office called See-Through Transparency. And that is a tool that allows you to look at all the state spending by vendor or by type of product or service and identify folks for whom meeting the supply diversity commitment is relevant. Sometimes a contractor may or may not do business with a state in a specific year. Um, and you can find the folks with whom we have spent money that year and focus on those. My one very specific request is please do not mass email these folks. We're showing you lists, but if everybody emails them, they will stop reading emails. They will stop responding to partnership sort of offers. So research your potential partner and target your outreach and your marketing. So just a quick return to the Combis homepage to show you the resources that I mentioned for indirect purchasing. So the list, the statewide contract index is right here, and the contract user guides are also here. So if you are, suppose you're a vendor who is looking to sell to the state directly, the contract user guides are also a great source of information about the current contractors. So if you go to this list of contract groups, you can look at, for example, let's say food and groceries. These are all of our food and groceries contracts. And suppose you're interested in partnering with a food service business, or you want to be a prime grocer for the state. This is the document that will tell you when this contract started, when this contract is expected to expire, and how many renewals this contract is going to have. So if you look at the current contract term, goes from January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2033, 23. And there are several renewals on this contract. So this gives you an idea of the state's long-term plans regarding the relationship with the vendors on this contract. At every renewal, the state re-evaluates whether the relationship should continue. But you can use this document to sort of gauge where this contract is in its life cycle. And also this contract document actually includes the list of current contractors for this. So a few words about resources. I highly recommend the free trainings that are offered by the OSD's training department. As I mentioned, they train in everything from getting certified to connecting your business to the Commonwealth, which is a much longer version of the quick tour of Combis and the description of our procurement process that I just provided. How to use Combis, how to actually read our RFR documents, how to identify key terms, and submit better proposals, demystifying the RFR, and how to actually submit the proposals through the Combis website. Finally, for an even more expanded version of this presentation, look at the SDP overview for bidders and prime contractors. There's a webinar and there's also a webcast on Combis. On YouTube. So where can you begin as a certified business? First, get certified and establish a Combis account. Then go through the training and support process that OSD provides. Then market your business and look for building SDP partnerships, growing your customer base. Often these partnerships are a way for you to get your foot in the door. State um, as formal as the state procurement process is, there's definitely some space for building trust and creating relationships with buyers. And finally, keep your certification up to date because that is the key to maintaining your competitive advantage as a certified business. So frequently asked questions. What types of certified SDP partners are acceptable? So this is a list, basically minority, woman-owned, veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned, disability-owned, and LGBT-owned businesses all can be supply diversity partners. Do SDP partners have to be approved by the Supply Diversity Office? Potential partners must be listed in the certification directory of on the Supply Diversity Office website. We also actually accept all veteran-owned businesses that are certified by the U.S. Veteran Administration. I will update the slide to include this information. So anybody who's certified by VetBiz and anybody who is in our SDO directory of certified businesses. Does a vendor with a DBE or PBE certification qualify for SDP participation? No, unfortunately not. And do I need to be a subcontractor to be an SDP partner? Also, no. Any business-to-business relationship with a prime contractor can help that vendor meet their SDP commitments. So let's talk a little bit about going beyond state government. What other organizations recognize the SDO certification? Most quasi-public organizations, in fact, have supply diversity initiatives. When you get the copy of this presentation, you can use these links to access their business portals or their supply diversity pages. And some retailers also have supply diversity programs that recognize SDO certifications. Anecdotally, the SDO has heard from several vendors for whom either stocking fees were waived or who received other advantages as certified businesses from large retailers. And finally, to get technical assistance, please talk to SCORE. There are also a couple of other organizations that are all working together. They're all related. The Small Business Administration, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and the Massachusetts Small Business Development Centers. All of those organizations have different strengths and sort of competencies. But I would definitely start with SCORE and then move on from there. And finally, this is our information. Please reach out. We love talking to vendors. We love helping. And if you know of a diverse vendor that would like to get certified, please do tell them to get in touch with us. We would love to help them do business with the state or Commonwealth contractors. And that's enough from me.
Dimitri, that was great. That was exactly what I think everybody was looking for. So, great. One question that did come up, what if somebody is already designated? How do they download your logo?
So that's a really good question. Right now, we do not have an approved logo. So I would so we have a couple of logos as little examples on the web page. I think at this point we can't regulate how you display the information about supply diversity certification because we don't have a standard logo for you to display. It is hopefully going to change at some point.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, Ingrid, you were up. You're muted.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Tim, and the rest of the panelists for this opportunity to present to you. I don't have slides to utilize today, but I can speak to the program at Mass General Brigham, formerly Partners Healthcare. You all may more likely be familiar with the name. Partners Healthcare, as you all may know, is the largest private employer in the state of Massachusetts. We do have a supplier diversity program, which I manage, and I have been with the organization for well over 3 decades and have been managing the supplier diversity program for the organization for the past 14 years. Our program has since grown substantially in that we do have an advisory group that consists of volunteers across the organization, which you all may also know consists of over 12 hospitals, all the physician groups, healthcare centers, and other affiliates, which we refer to as entities, including Always Health. Our mission, or the mission of the Supplier Diversity Program, is to sustain a program that identifies, develops, and values strong partnership with diverse suppliers. We, as an organization, are committed to increasing the number of diverse suppliers within the MGB communities. That's how we function on a day-to-day basis. It's what drives the supplier diversity program and our relationship through supply chain in engaging specifically local diverse suppliers. We do emphasize local, although we do business with suppliers across the nation and also international. So we do not count supplier diversity spend from an international, but we do count spend with diverse suppliers on a national level. recently we engaged a minority-owned business to capture our data based on spend, based on the impact of our communities, and based on how well we are doing as we continue to look at where we need to focus and where we need to develop diverse suppliers. And when I say develop diverse suppliers, internally we don't mentor suppliers, but we do partner with other organizations, stakeholders, such as our GPO Vizient, who are, when I say GPO, for those of you who may not know, it's our group purchasing organization. We also have a relationship at that organization, I'm sorry, it's Vizient. And we also has a relationship with ICIC, and I tend to always forget the acronyms. It's Inner City Connections. I may say it wrong, but if you Google ICIC, I'm sure you will find it. It's run and chaired by Steve Grossman, our state's former treasurer. We also have relationships with the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council, which I was a board member for a couple of years, and other support and stakeholders include state and city supplier diversity initiatives as well. As you heard Dimitri presentation, we do have recognized, not only have, but we do recognize all these certifications from certifying bodies. And I'll get to that as I continue into our program and how we do business and support diverse suppliers across the organization. The organization also is a member of the Pacesetters, which is an initiative run by the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. And that partnership consists of large and mid-sized Boston Chamber member organizations who use their collective purchasing power to create opportunities at scale for local enterprises of color. Right, you're getting back to our focus on being local. The organization mission statement consists of 5 pillars, one of them being community. Others include patient care, research, training, and also community. It's a large portion of what we do as an organization, focusing on the community and the wellness of the communities in which we operate. We embrace that mission, includes it in everything we do as an organization, including the Supplier Diversity Program. We also look at, when we think of developing the supplier diversity program, we look at how we measure, how we hold departments and our entities accountable in supporting the organization's mission, looking for opportunities to inform not just suppliers, but our business partners. And also part of that includes recruiting and informing suppliers of how to do business with the organization, which gets me back to the purpose of this presentation in one, informing, recruiting, and sharing opportunities across the organization. Now, this gets me to what I consider the important portion of this presentation, which involve how we to do business with MGB. And if I did not say this, it's Mass General Brigham. You all are familiar with Mass General. The organization is in the process of rebranding, hence the reason for the name change. And so therefore there are opportunities within that process. We are all in a, our current state where COVID-19 is a huge portion of which we all are experiencing right now. It has impacted every single individual on this universe, not just here in Massachusetts or in the US, but around the world. PPE, which is personal protective equipment, and I'm sure you know this as well, have become a vital portion of what we do and have been doing in supply chain. The need continues. We are currently looking at a possible second surge, what that would look like. I am proud to say, being a part of supply chain team, uh, our organization haven't run out of PPE items. We work with state officials, the government, the governors, city officials, Mayor Walsh, our city of Boston, and other cities in supporting what they're doing and getting supplies, getting tested, and all that have been going on for across the organization. Those opportunities continue to today. There are opportunities for suppliers, particularly diverse suppliers, that's manufacturing, face masks, gowns, any protective items. Reach out to us. We are also accepting donations, which we then refer to back into the community so we can then support other small businesses by providing them the additional support that they may need, because we are all struggling during these times. There are also opportunities internally for perm staffing, not temp staffing. We do have a current uh, freeze for employment, but we are looking for where there are openings, particularly whether it's entry level or executive level staffing. Those opportunities continue to come up as an organization where folks may be considering whether or not this is a good time to retire or how they plan what their future may look like. We always have to plan ahead. HR has an RFP currently that's they're preparing to go out. So if there's any supplier of perm staffing who is on this session, please reach out. I'm sure my contact information will be shared towards the end of this presentation. Another opportunity is freight, moving supplies across the organization from one entity to another is also another opportunity that we are likely to put out a new RFP for. So these are current opportunities that's on everyone's mind at this point. Now that does not mean there aren't other opportunities across the organization. I will share, we do not contract with every supplier. That said, currently supply chain has well over 40,000 suppliers that we do engage with across the system. We do not contract and cannot contract with all. We currently, for the supplier diversity program, we engage approximately 4,000 suppliers on an annual basis, and we have not contracted with all the suppliers either, because of the platform and being as large as we are as an organization, we will purchase from suppliers that we do not contract with. And when I say purchase, I'm referring to suppliers, whether they're certified or not. We strongly encourage certification. It's important to us, and we accept all state certifications, whether they're Massachusetts or any of the other 49 states. We do recognize that we also accept the National Minority Supplier Development Council certification. There is the National LGBT organization. We do, I may not have pronounced that acronym correctly, but we do recognize LGBT as part of the certification. We persons with disability, which I know is a certification that the state recognize. We also woman-owned businesses, of course, all categories, veteran, disabled veteran, hub zone, we do engage suppliers in each of those categories. However, if you're not certified, it does not mean that we will not engage with the supplier. What it means that we encourage you, we ask you to obtain certification, understanding that it will take some time, so we give at least a 6-month window. You can obtain your certification, send me a copy of that certification, and we will identify you as a diverse supplier within our database. Another piece I will add is that as an organization, so particularly in supply chain, we list all our suppliers in PeopleSoft. Our internal staff can go into PeopleSoft, and if they're looking to purchase goods or services, our diverse suppliers pool are flagged in our system. So they know it's a diverse supplier. They can then compare prices to other suppliers and see what is the least expensive or where they choose. There's still that leverage where our colleagues across the system can then purchase based on price, based on quality. Those options are still available, and it will remain available in the foreseen future. It may change at some point, but this will continue at least for the next several months. The other piece, Tim, I want you to keep track of time because I don't do well. I tend to go over.
No, you're doing okay.
Okay,
Well,
great.
one question I would have for you, Ingrid, is
Yes.
there a place, if I'm a diverse supplier, is there a place I can go to look and see what business is available and who to contact?
Okay, so that question, I would say it refers to a portal which we don't have for suppliers to register right now. But so the best contact would be to reach out to me directly. Let me know what, particularly for diverse suppliers. Reach out to me directly, and based on your service or commodity of your offering, I will then put you in contact with a department head or the person with an interest in the product or services you're offering.
Can I put your email in the chat?
Yes, please do, Teresa.
Okay.
Yes. I should have my email and phone number in there. Thank you. So part of what we do as at the supplier diversity program I mentioned earlier, we do have volunteers across the system. We focus on the impact on the communities, diversifying our supply base and connecting with the emerging markets. The expansion of Mass General Brigham's market, as I mentioned earlier, MGBE is in the process. I said just the MGBE, but it's MGB is in the process of rebranding. So we are also engaging suppliers, whether diverse or not. We do have a couple of diverse suppliers who we've been engaged with in over the years for our marketing projects. Those relationships will continue, and yet we continue to look for opportunities to bring brand new ideas and to just to be competitive, but with a focus of being local. It's always about cost savings. We will not engage with a supplier just because you're diverse. We are looking for a price, quality, service. Those three things. When suppliers reach out to me directly, I typically ask, send me your capacity statement or your capability statement. What are you offering? How long you've been in business? How well, who are your employees? How are you contributing to your communities? All these questions are typically asked because we want to know how you value what's important to us in building our relationship. It's about building partnership. That's what's important to this organization.
Okay.
And
Ingrid, we have enough time for questions?
yes,
that
we
okay?
do. So I mentioned potential opportunities, and at this point, I would say I am sure for the suppliers and the on this session and some of my colleagues, these come up all the time, that in the years that I've been doing this work, I always feel the need to share. This is hard work. It's hard work for the supply diversity professional. It is hard work for the suppliers because you're looking for opportunities. I often, when I speak to my colleagues about opportunities across the organization, I often remind them that the suppliers are there, they're looking for engagement. We can speak, we can tell them how well the organization is, how great the organization, how well the supply diversity program is. At the end of the day, suppliers are looking for opportunities. Questions always come up. There are myths about whether or not the suppliers are more expensive than it would be to engage a larger supplier on a national platform, whether it would cost less because they're probably more than likely they're purchasing in greater volume so they can get better pricing. We have an initiative through pay setters, through other stakeholders to engage local suppliers. It does not mean we will engage a supplier because they're local and they're diverse if they are 25% or 50% higher than someone we will engage nationally. But if you come to us with a competitive pricing for this same quality product or services, you have an opportunity for a conversation, for engagement across our system. I will also share on this platform, any engagement is for the system, not just one particular department. Once you are listed in our database, you are available to everyone within Mass General Brigham to provide your services. It's then up to you to market your supply goods and services to across the entities. On that note, I'll stop here and I'll open up for questions.
Okay. Thank you, Ingrid. That was fantastic. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Teresa, you want to get into the questions?
Yeah, I think the first two are actually for Massport. Does the Massport bid express also include civil engineering professional services such as construction, inspection, or design services?
For constructions, they have their own site, Capital Programs does under Bid Express. So if you just go on Bid Express and you search, they have their own homepage. As for professional services, those purchases don't go through our purchasing department. They would be on our Massport website, though we are starting to convert some of them, and whether they be through Capital Programs posting them or I would be posting them on Bid Express, they would probably start to, we're kind of transitioning to that point, but they would always be on our website. So that would be the first place that I would say to look.
Okay. Does that comment also apply to professional services like environmental consulting?
Yes, 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 it does.
Somebody asked, my Combis profile is asking me to join Periscope for access to bids. I have entered the required information. Are you familiar with that? I guess that's for Dimitri.
It is. I believe this is the result of sort of our new work with Periscope and sort of connecting to other Periscope products. I would take this question to the Combis help desk. At this point, you're not required to join Periscope. If you're a part of Combis, but my understanding is that there are other solicitations posted by other entities that you might get access to if you go that route. I would contact the Combis help desk. The information for the help desk is on the Combis homepage. It's right there on the homepage.
All right, this one is directed to all panelists. How is a decision made for possible bid rewarding if there are already primes and contractors that are experienced and have already been on an awarded contract versus those who have not had a chance to get on a contract? Does anyone want to take that?
Sure.
I can go first, and first of all, we do not engage. We do engage, but do not contract with all suppliers. We purchase same or similar type supplies and services from multiple suppliers. So even if you did not win the bid in an RFP, it does not mean the organization could not or would not engage with the supplier because we have multiple entities utilizing the same platform.
I'll also add to that. I was a business owner of woman-owned small business and did work with the government. And it's very important to realize that you have to do a lot of research when you do work with the government. It's finding the right partner and the right opportunity. And it's very important to start small because you want to get a reputation, you want to have a reference, and you want it to be stellar. It's so important in federal government. They won't give you any business at any level, above that, I think it's the 150, that you don't have really good references. And when you can get a reference, it's actually a government type reference that usually holds more weight. But starting off small with the little ones and also finding that partner, going to that business, that larger business, and forming a relationship with them, letting them know what you bring to the table. That's how you start to get your foot in the door. So it is overwhelming sometimes to say, how do I even, it's like the chicken before the egg kind of thing, but you can do it if you do start small and find those right partners.
And I'll just add for, oh, go ahead,
Sure.
Dimitri.
Oh, no, Donna, go ahead.
Okay. As for Massport, we don't always go with the incumbent whenever our bids are out there. And again, as Carol said, great point. Probably what you need to do for us is start bidding on those, get quotes into us for those bids that are under 25,000. So get on our vendor database so that we can reach out to you. And when we do have a need for those one-offs or those smaller bids that are under 25,000, then we can establish that relationship with you. And again, providing us with references, because we do check those references when it's someone we never have done business with. Go ahead, Dimitri. Sorry about that.
And with the state, I would say that while I think prior relationships help bidders create better proposals, and sort of there's an advantage from that standpoint, but really what we evaluate is the quality of the proposals. So we do not always go with the incumbent. Don't necessarily assume that we're happy with the incumbent. I think every bid solicitation is, open, fair, and competitive at that moment. It's a level playing field where every business is supposed to get a fair shake. So I encourage you to bid. If you're interested in getting a sort of a view into what was done on the previous contract, what kind of pricing, who was awarded, you can actually go into Combis and look at the contract award information. And for a lot of those contracts, you can actually see the pricing posted publicly. So you can do some additional research, like Carol pointed out, to acquire some of that competitive advantage yourself.
There's a follow-up question. If you are to start small, where would be a starting point for these particular opportunities? I think that's to Carol.
I'm going to actually defer that to Dimitri because it's in combines, the smaller, the size of the opportunities that you look for. I'm actually much more of a federal government experienced person, so I'm still kind of learning the state route. But I know that at least one of you was saying, and Donna, maybe it was you, that some of the opportunities were 50,000 or below, and it's much easier to do the quotes. You don't have to do the full proposal. So I actually feel like somebody else might answer that a little bit better than I.
Yeah, I mean, as for Massport, Teresa's going to send you out our form, our vendor form, and on the form it has categories on there, so you check off the certain categories. So when we go into our database, we would look at those categories. For instance, if it was office supplies, or if it was cleaning supplies or PPE, as Ingrid said, we're looking for a lot of those items now. Massport is in demand for those. So, if you check those off on the categories, when the buyers are looking for those bids that are under 25,000, they're searching that database. So it's important we get you in our database so we can reach out to you, and then you can provide us with a quote. And again, those are the smaller bids, the ones under 25.
Mark says, we are a certified MBE and provide commercial office furniture and architectural interiors to large and small businesses. Are there any opportunities for commercial office furniture and architectural interior categories, or is there a separate division / portal for that?
I mean, for Massport, we currently we have a vendor in place for office supplies, office furniture, but I believe that bid actually is going to be coming up in the next year or two. I mean, we're really not buying much furniture right now. Our budgets are a little bit tight. But again, there's always those opportunities. As for if they're under 25,000, it could be a one-off. That we could be just looking for 1 or 2 items that we might reach out to other vendors to get a competitive price. But as for it, for us, it probably would be a formal bid that we would do for 3 years with 2 option years when we're renewing that, which will be in the next year that we'd be posting that bid.
For those, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
For Mass General Brigham, that person can reach out to me directly. I will share that we just less than 5 years ago built a brand new building in Somerville. I don't know that we have any immediate opportunities for large portions since many of us are working remotely. But based on their offering, they can send me a list of the furniture they have with pricing, and I can compare it to the vendors that we are currently using and follow up.
Okay, great. Thank you. For those that are not as experienced in obtaining and writing a bid proposal, do any of you on the panel have people or places where they can go and get assistance to help in understanding this process?
Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, for those that are not experienced in obtaining and writing a bid proposal, do you know of any assistance or people that they can go to or resources that can help them, learn how to understand that process?
Yes, two stakeholders that come to mind is first ICIC, and there is the Business Equity Initiative, which is through the Paysetter, which is the program out of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. I believe with the Business Equity Initiative, they are engage suppliers within a certain threshold. They have to have a certain amount of revenue. I'm not sure what that is right now at the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure ICIC will engage regardless of their revenue. And if regardless may not be the right word, but it's much lower.
I also would say that SCORE has some folks that have experience in that realm and would be happy to review, give guidance, whatever. May not be specifically aware of that particular proposal format, but the quality, making sure you're answering the questions, making sure it's well written and clear and that you haven't missed anything, those kinds of things. I'm sure SCORE has a number of people that can help with that, including myself.
If Combis doesn't post the contractor who won a recent contract, where else can you find that information?
I would first contact the contract manager or the buyer on the solicitation. And if that doesn't happen, the name of the supplier who got awarded is public information. So you can actually file a public information request to get that information. But the first step is just to email the buyer on the solicitation and see what they say.
I guess I have a question for Donna. SYMS Technology has been a vendor for Massport, but haven't seen any activity in the IT space since the buyer moved last November. How do we know if we are still in the system, and any guidance on how to get started with the existing new buyer?
Right now, we haven't replaced that buyer who moved on to another position. Right now, Massport has a freeze on all new hires. So it's kind of being spread out among several of our buyers. Again, I know we have SIMs on our list, but you can always email us at purchasing at massport.com. And we can just make sure you are in our system and that we have the correct information in your email address. So again, just reach out to us at that email address and we'll double check your information.
Okay, and this is going to be the last question. Now that we are in a new normal with the COVID situation, will there be a delay now for this fiscal year in trying to get awarded, or should we just wait till next year to begin researching for bids?
I mean, as for Massport, we are still purchasing items. All our bids will be on our website and on Bid Express if it's over 50K. Again, I mentioned there's a number of them that are out there currently. So no, we are moving forward.
Great. Okay, Tim, do you want to give some closing comments?
Sure. If there are other questions that you have, please just direct them to, if they're anywhere, just direct them there or direct them to me, and I will make sure that we get the questions answered. And my email address, and Teresa will put it in there, is tim.nelson@scorevolunteer.org. So if we've missed one of your questions, don't hesitate to reach out. we really appreciate the speakers. The presentations were great. The answers were great too. And this has been recorded. So if you know of other people that would like to see it, tell them to go to our website, and it's easy to find. The next one in our series will be doing business with the city of Boston, and that will be sometime in November. We haven't picked a date yet, and we're still working with the people at the city of Boston to put it together. But we appreciate you attending. And again, if you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out to us for mentoring. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.